Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to today's session, the Gronthee Facebook Live series, 100 Poets Around the Globe for Love. Many thanks to all of our supporters, all of our wonderful poets, performers, followers, poetry lovers all around the globe, and to those who are watching, sharing, helping, supporting this series meaningfully. As you know, Gronthee is one of the leading South Asian literary platforms here in Britain. While it started its journey to promote the new voice and experimental literature in connection to Bengali language about 30 years ago, it was mostly Bengali-centric little magazine, a platform to promote new vision, new philosophy.
Are you sure?
But now, this is becoming more or less world-centric, a globe-centric platform to promote world literature, world poetry. And as you know, it hosts a wonderful festival called International Poetry Festival in London. It was supposed to happen this year in Oxford University and many other prestigious venues in London. We would like to get all poets from all across the world as part of this International Poetry Festival. Live event, actually, we're looking forward for live events, but during this pandemic, everything is becoming a bit difficult. But when this pandemic goes over, we like to see and listen to the haunting verses of these poets who became the part of this beautiful series, 100 Poets Around the Globe for Love. And the poetry, the poems that is being read today, or tomorrow, or which was read as part of the series, Gronthee is publishing a beautiful literary publication accommodating all those beautiful, wonderful verses of poetry. And that would be a great publication, I think, which will reflect this time, this difficult, unprecedented time. And I'm sure it will be a collectible issue, a global voice, global poetry. So ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce our panel members today. So kindly those who already have joined, please share this to your timeline. This is streaming live from the Gronthee. It is also streaming live from Shodho. It should be available in the editor of the Gronthee, Shamim Shahan's profile, and it will be available in Gronthee and Shodho's partner pages very soon. So please, if you kindly share this link to your in your timeline, your friends and your followers will be the part of it, and I'm sure they will find it quite redemptive, quite remedial in this difficult time. Listening poetry is always a remedy, and I'm sure if you kindly share this in your timeline, your friends and followers will appreciate this. So let me introduce our panel members today. Let me start with Shaheen Mitul, a spoken word artist, a friend, a concert organizer, and a great supporter of Goutam vision. If we all can, so Mitul, many thanks for joining and a warm welcome to today's session.
Thank you so much. It is a pleasure to welcome 5 phenomenal poets from different parts of the globe. I'm looking forward to a great celebration of diversity and togetherness. Thank you.
Many thanks, Mitul, and many thanks for your great support. Let me introduce the editor of Gronthee, poet Shamim Shahan. Many thanks for joining and a warm welcome to today's session.
Good evening. Today is the 5th day of 100 Poets Around the World for Loves as part of the Gronthee Facebook Live series. I cordially welcome Swedish poet, musician, and editor Bengt O Bjorklund, UK-based poet and scholar on Cuban music, Snezhina Gulobova, poet, essayist, and translator from Bangladesh, Razu Alauddin, poet, essayist, editor from Bangladesh, Obayed Akash, and poet, essayist from India, Goutam Guha Roy. Poet, friend, and my brother, T M Ahmed Kaysher, has already introduced about Gronthee initiative. The Gronthee is one of the top platforms for South Asian literature, philosophy, and sociology in Britain. We start with a bunch of friends at the beginning at early 1990s. That was purely Bangladesh centric. Now it is becoming quite global platform. The people we invite to this platform have created their own location from their respective places. It may be poetry, stories, article, novels, or criticism. From the beginning of the gland to the present day, everyone is doing the work on their own. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to those friends, including poet Jofi Setu, poet Mostak Ahmed Din, poet Mahbub Lilen, poet T M Ahmed Kaysher, novelist Ahmed Minhaj, poet Helal Ahmed Chaudhry, poet Fazlur Rahman Babul, poet Laik Ahmed Numan, and many more. The Gronthee has been able to conquer the country and create a unique platform in the world. The series that we have started on the Facebook Live is being watched from all over the world. Greeting and love to all who are watching this show today. Thanks to everyone, including one of our team members, Shaheen Mitul. Best wishes.
Many thanks, Shamim Shahan. Let me also introduce a friend, a wonderful poet and a wonderful musician, Snezhina Gulobova. Many thanks for joining Snezhina as part of this series, and a warm welcome to today's session.
Hi, very nice to be here and to take part in this. Poetry, as you know, is one of the most understated forms of writing, and yet one of the most subtle, where in only a few words we can express something that someone else can write 300 pages on. So it's a very beautiful initiative, and to spread love around the world in this time of fear. We all fear for our lives, we all fear for society, we all fear for our neighbors and families. So thank you very much for inviting me to join the initiative.
Thank you, Snezhina. We have Obayed Akash joined from Bangladesh, a friend and a wonderful poet, and an essayist as well. And I'm sure he's also an editor of Shalu. I'm sure this skill continues to be published. A wonderful little magazine which is serving to promote new literature from perhaps the mid-90s. Many thanks, Obayed, for joining, and a warm welcome to today's session. If you kindly unmute yourself, Obayed, we can't hear you because you are muted. If you kindly unmute, I sent you a request to unmute, yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you very much. Good evening. First, I would like to thank Gronthee, and I see many great person in the screen. Poet Bengt O Bjorklund and Mitul. but I cannot see. I cannot see Sneho. I cannot see Cuban poet Snezhina Gulobova and Goutam Guha Roy and Razu Alauddin. I can see Mitul. Now, oh yeah, yes. Thank you very much. And now I see
Thank you.
everybody. I'm
Thank
seeing
you.
everybody.
Many thanks, Obayed.
Okay. Thank you.
We will
Goutam
come
Guha
back to
Roy,
you.
my favorite poet. Goutam Guha Roy, my friend. Razu Alauddin, my elder brother and poet, Bangladesh translator. At first, my very important subject is Gronthee is a little magazine and anti-establishment platform, and editor of Gronthee, Shamim Shahan, is my best friend. He is a poet, and thank to Gronthee and Shamim Shahan and Kaysher Ahmed. I love them very much. It is very nice time for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Obayed, for joining today. We have another wonderful poet, but I have to say a bit understated poet. I read his poetry, but for some reasons, he has not been referred in many ways that he deserves. He's a wonderful poet in my reading. He's a translator. And he interviewed many wonderful political, literary individuals, literary icons, and a wonderful essayist as well. Razu Alauddin as part of the series. Many thanks, Raju bhai. আজকে কবিতা শুনবো কিন্তু আপনার বাহ প্রাণ ভরে কবিতা শুনবো. This is an opportunity for me to listen. Your wonderful poetry. I read some of your poetry to and fro, very infrequently, but this is a chance for myself and for others to listen to your poetry as well. So warm welcome to today's session, Raju. Can you hear us, Raju?
Okay. Thank you, dear Kaysher. It's my privilege to be here. And really, I would like to thank you for your good introduction and a good and kind introduction to me. Actually, it's a great privilege to be here because the Gronthee, as you told, that it has been started as a Bangladeshi-based little mag. Now now it is based on, global literature. That means you are uniting the people, the poets, the writers from all over the world. So it is, give it the chance to be, to know the poets, important poets from other parts of other languages, like here, as we have Snezhina and the Swedish poet Bengt. I don't know if I pronounced correctly. If not, please forgive me for the bad pronunciation. I hope I can correct it later. But and the poet from Kolkata, in West Bengal, Goutam Guha Roy. I know all of them. I would like to thank you and thank you, Shamim Shahan, for inviting me to be here with other important poets. So it's actually poetry is as Sneha told that. Sorry for
No. Snezhina, that's fine. Yeah. Snezhina is very generous.
Okay.
Very generous.
Oh yeah. Yes, I think that she will forgive me for that for bad pronunciation. The thing is that what she said, that actually we are writing as she said that the thing is that we are writing a single poem, all from all the writers from all over the world. We are trying to write when a poet write a universal poem, actually he become universal. That means he become a voice of universal voice. So all the poets, we are trying to write a single poem. As one of my favorite poet, Jorge Luis Borges, all of you know that about him. He said that actually we are trying to write universal poems. Okay, and even he said that what else, if we can express a poem in a single line, even in a single words, actually we are trying to write Malarme, and later on Jorge Luis Borges also expressed Borges also expressed that kind of ambition. Actually, for example, what we can express in a single word or in a single line. Why should we waste thousands or hundreds of pages? As he told about, novel, right? You know that he never wrote any novel, but his precision was in such a state that he dared to say that kind of statement. So I am very glad that I am with among you. So it's a honor for me. I would like to congratulate all of you. So let us begin.
Thank you, Razu bhai. Many thanks. I'll come back to you. Let me introduce other poets. And whatever you said is really wonderful, really amazing. Poetry, like Malarme was the founder of the idea of writing single word, and single word can be the part of poetry. And then Jorge Luis Borges is known for his phenomenal precision. And that's why he couldn't write his hand. That's why he couldn't write any novel. But many thanks to you for the aim of art literature is to connect from one world to other. So whenever we read any novel of Africa, we don't have to be African to read the novel or to know the people of Africa. So literature can do this. Poetry can do this. The aim of this project is to connect people from all around the globe, all around the continent, from different continents, from different languages, and get them in one umbrella, under the one umbrella. And quite rightly said, you have done a tremendous job in translating different phenomenal poets in Bengali and letting them have the taste of world literature, beautiful, and the grandeur of world literature. Many thanks to you, great effort. So let me also introduce our other panel members, Goutam Guha Roy, a phenomenal poet of this time, joined from India. Many thanks, Goutam, for joining as part of this series, and a warm welcome to today's session. Can you hear us? Unfortunately, Goutam Guha Roy went. I can't see him because he went again. For some reasons, I can't see his video is off actually, and then his sound is not. Again, it went off. So I will request Goutam Guha Roy if you can hear us, if you kindly sort your sound a bit out, and your video needs to be on as well. So we have another wonderful poet, musician, and a composer joined from Sweden, Bengt O Bjorklund. Many thanks, Bengt, for joining as part of the series, and a warm welcome to today's session. If you kindly unmute yourself, thank you.
Thank you.
So let me start with Bengt today. But before we start, I would kindly request each one. If you can mute ourselves. Yes, I managed to mute. So Bengt, Bengt is a painter. Well, let us give a brief introduction of Bengt. Mitul, if you kindly give a brief introduction of Bengt, and then we'll start listening from Bengt afterwards.
Sure. Bengt O Bjorklund is a Swedish journalist, artist, and poet. He's a man of many talents and a fascinating life story. He is not only a poet, but also an amazing artist, photographer, and musician. Bengt's 3 untitled poems were published in Conference Issue 5. Bengt was born in Stockholm in 1949. In 1969, he ended up in prison in Istanbul together with international artists, poets, and musicians. It was there his creativity was sparked. He has been working together with Fred Tycon on the A Romani Glinda magazine since 2001. Together, they have traveled to many European countries to participate in different Roma events. Bengt has had many exhibitions through the years and has published 9 books, mainly poetry. The latest 3 poetry collections were written and published in English. In 2018, he was named Sweden Beat Poet Laureate by the National Beat Poetry Foundation in the USA.
Thank you, Mitul. Many thanks for giving a brief introduction of a phenomenal journey in poetry and literature, poetry, art, by our today's featured poet, Bengt. So Bengt, let us start with a question, perhaps, before we move on to your reading. So why would you think love is important? Whenever you found someone is uttering the word love, as you know, this session is 100 poets around the globe for love. So whenever you listen the word love, what kind of images you see in front of you?
To me, love is everything. I'd like to be all love if I could, but I can't. And I wish the world could be all love, but it isn't. But love is the most important ingredient of human life.
Wow.
So I strive for love all the time, and I try to live love as much as I can.
Great, Bengt. Just before we move on to your reading, did you find the live streaming okay? Did you manage to share in your timeline so that you can perhaps have some followers?
I hope so. I share the links. I don't know.
Oh,
I did the best I could.
Great. No, that's fine. If you kindly read perhaps 2 or 3 points now, we'll come back to you afterwards.
Okay.
So let's start with your poetry reading. Thank you.
Okay. I'll start with this. It's from my first book in English, published in Wales. Puddles of wet word joy shines in spite on canvas of it all. There are worms in my fight for regard. I am hollow. Dice is my name. Crossed fingers and a special resilience. Dipped in ambiguity and a kind of loneliness birds respond to. I am the sea of images, a tonality oceans know, a final fall upon the shore.
Oh, wonderful. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's from if I'm allowed to comment, I would like to say that from personal journey, he related this personal journey to the mythical journey. That is wonderful.
Exactly.
I love it. Exactly.
Mythology has always been important to me.
Actually, it means that Personally, we are almost nobody, but everything happened in our life. It is equivalent to a mythical meaning, at a mythical level. That means actually we are also like Ulysses, like any mythical hero. Thank you so much for writing such a beautiful poem. I love it.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Let's go for the second one, Bengt. You can perhaps read 2 or 3, and then, yeah.
The sigh.
Bengt, sorry, I just noticed that the link is not perhaps managed to be shared. I'm just going to send this to your messenger. You can copy and paste from there.
Okay.
Please continue reading. Yeah, please continue reading. I just managed to send this to your messenger. Have you found it?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you kindly copy and paste to your timeline, this is important that we get audiences from all different.
I do it straight off.
Thank you.
How do I copy?
Like any mythical hero.
If we kindly
Yes. I just shared the link. That should be enough.
I do it straight off.
Okay, good.
How do I copy? All right.
Second point, please.
The sigh of old age runs with waves, born weary with Sisyphus moaning, carrying more making of sand. It is in the fleeting of the eye, in the blinking, in the rushing of perpetuity, thinner than a wafer in a silent church. It is in the grovel, not before the dying day, and in the tempt, the utter madness, with a different madness. We shall all find that listening ends when seashells whisper no more, to a sea wasted on confidence.
Wow, great.
Fantastic.
Bengt.
Thank you.
Okay.
Back to the myth.
Actually, yeah.
Can we have the next one?
Can I make a comment? Would you allow me to make a comment? I think you should keep this option. I mean, when someone will read, if anyone to make any comment, that will be, I think, good. No?
Okay. Yeah.
So.
Please go on.
Okay. The thing is that I have only heard 2 poems. It seems like Bengt has an inclination to, as I told you, about his first poem. His journey, he tried to relate the person who is almost invisible. I mean, the invisible person like you and me, who does not have any significance in the history, in society. He tried to relate that person to a mythical person and make the significance. Even in this second poem, he did correctly. There are things, and in a brief, that is the, precision. The poetic precision. I liked it.
Thank you, Raju bhai. Yeah, your third poem, Bengt, and then I'll come back to you afterwards. If you
Thank you. Thank you for the comment. This is from another book. This one is called Humility is Not the Name of a Strange Bird, published by National Beat Poetry Foundation in the States.
Yeah.
There's a trail running from the bottom of your eyes to the outskirts of all understanding. It is paved with believers. When I go, you can too go. We will all go. There's a show going on downtown. Sunshine runs like perception when the day tilts in a certain way. There will be a price to pay. We will not hold hands. Stray me not here, reclaim me, as I in times of a better eye hold no transitory substance to blame, nor the way I walk. That was the third one.
Thank you very much, man. We will come back to you again, but let us go back to our next poem, next poet, Goutam Guha Roy. Many thanks, Goutam Guha Roy, for joining. Perhaps you have some internet issue, but you managed to come back again. Many thanks. Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Hello.
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ একদম আপনাকে শুনতে পাচ্ছি আপনাকে একদম শুনতে পাচ্ছি আমাদের কথা আপনি শুনতে পাচ্ছেন কিনা
খুব আস্তে আসছে
আচ্ছা দুটো জিনিস একটু মেক শিওর করতে হবে বাড়তি কিছু শব্দ আসছে কেউ হয়তো মোবাইলে শুনছে মোবাইলে মোবাইলের সাউন্ড মিউট করে রাখতে হবে আর কি একটু প্রত্যেককে যদি মিউট করে রাখা যায় আপনারা নিজেদেরকে মিউট করে রাখলে তখন অন্যদের কথা শোনা যাবে একটু মিউট করে রাখছি আমি সবাইকে আচ্ছা গৌতম গুহা রয় আপনি কি আমাদের শুনতে পাচ্ছেন আর না গৌতম গুহা রয় আপনাকে প্রথমে ইয়েটা খুলতে হবে আপনার 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 কানের ইয়ারফোনটা খুলতে হবে কাইন্ডলি পুট ইউর ইয়ারফোন অফ প্লিজ Exactly. And if you kindly disconnect this, talk in front of the device without having any other extra auxiliary instrument. আপনি কি শুনতে পাচ্ছেন এখন? আচ্ছা একটু যদি পাশে এসে ডিভাইসের if you kindly come closer to the device so that we can hear you clearly. একদম হ্যাঁ
ওকে
তো সুস্বাগতম আপনাকে a warm welcome to today's session আপনি যুক্ত হয়েছেন আপনাকে ভালোবাসা শ্রদ্ধা জানাচ্ছি গ্রন্থি প্ল্যাটফর্ম থেকে আজকে আপনার আমরা I'm not sure whether you have listened.
Very good.
Please go on.
Hello.
হ্যাঁ please go on.
Very good evening from India to all audience. Hello.
Great.
Organizers and co-readers, it's a pleasure to meet with when our interaction with the others is limited due to the pandemic, even though virtually, before I move into the premises of my poetic entanglement, I would like to convey my heartfelt gratitude to the organizer for providing a worldwide platform for poetic interaction out of the love for poetry or for poems that involve out of love. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to be part of this. Of my co-reader, Shamim and Obayed are near to my heart, and I am a fascinated reader of Razu, Alauddin. Hence, it's pure pleasure to me to be a part of the whole. I would also like to convey my regrets to the two poets from Cuba and Sweden. So, my dear audience, I would like to open my heart before you tonight through my revealing voice, fasten with seatbelt for the virtual ride into the land to where I belong. The smell of greenery and taste freshness of the air, to feel a river that's life to us. Tista. Hello.
Hey, আপনাকে শুনছি. We can hear you, right? Okay, please go on. Please go on. We like to listen you. Exactly.
Let me give of you a brief introduction about myself. In the lap of Himalayas flows a river. Her name is Tista, my muse. My poems are born of it and carries its essence in words and spirit, in the way it ring and rail through the pages. The phase that we are passing through is not happiness, nor a peace, and we are hoping for liberation. My pain desired to pin those hopes and dreams in the blankets of paper. Hello? Can
Yes, we can hear
read,
you.
Some poet?
Yeah,
Okay.
if I will come back to
Can we-
you. Goutam Guha Roy, I will come back to you. Let me have a brief introduction about you from Mitul. If you kindly allow us to give a brief introduction from Mitul. Mitul, if you kindly give a brief introduction about Goutam Guha Roy. And before Mitul goes for the introduction, if you kindly share this live streaming in your Facebook. This is streaming live from Gronthee's page, and it is also streaming live from Shamim Shahan's page. So if you kindly share this and get your followers engaged into this beautiful session of world poetry. If you kindly do this, and Mitul, if you kindly give a brief introduction of Goutam Guha Roy.
Yep, sure. Poet Goutam Guha Roy was born on 23rd January 1964 in Jalpaiguri, India. His ancestors migrated to Jalpaiguri from Markhannagar, Bikrampur at the time of partition. The search for roots has always been a part of his existence. After obtaining his degree in Bangla, he pursued a career in the banking sector. His passion is mountain hiking. In his youth, he was actively involved in library movements and science movements. A firm believer of Marxism, Mr. Roy was an active member of a leftist student organization in his student life. Among his publications of poems are Shap Shapno Shahobash, Dajho Brishtir Kobita, Rekha Tamanger Chorna, Kuasha Uronto Jhapi, Nirbachito Kobita, Shampadana, editorials, Jalpai Sanctuary Kobita, Bektigoto Krushokat, translations, Rabo, Gunter Grash, essays, Girish Karnad, Asha Bhangir Chai Bhosho, Shapno Poribrajokkera, etc. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Let us start with Goutam Guha Roy's, poet Goutam Guha Roy's poetry. So if you kindly read about 2 or 3 poems now, and then we'll come back to you in turn again. So Goutam Guha Roy, over to you.
Sure. Firstly, I read a poem, Eralo Rumaler Golpo. First, I read in Bengali and then English. Dujora hater phaad, ধরা গেল রোদের খুলে ফেলছে রঙিন ট্রাউজার, চুলের আড়ালে কুয়াশা লুকোনো, এরপর পরিচয় ভোর দুপুরে, এখন বাইরে মেঘ পরিদের রৌদ্র পর্যটন, ভেতরে মুখর আঙুলের ওপর মৌন আঙুলেরা, যেমন হাতে হাতে পয়সা মুদ্রায় রূপালী রুমাল, চোখের ভেতর ছিল বাদামি বেড়াল, আঙুলেরা অস্থির হলে খোলে বাদাম বীজ, রৌদ্র তাপ হঠাৎ উড়ে যায় লুকোনো কুয়াশা, আর বাষ্পডানা ঝাপসা ট্রাউজার, পায়ের চাপে যেমন ভেঙেছিল প্রদীপ, ধান ও দুর্বাঘাস, সেদিন আলাপ জুড়ে ছিল ভীষণ, আধিভৌতিক আঙুল ও নীল বেড়ালেরা। The pairs of hands, the breath of sun-trapped, colorful trouser stripped off, hidden amongst the blank hair is the fog, hidden rendezvous of the morn and noon. It was the time when fairy clouds rolled in the sun, and inside, silent fingers lay above. Alike the way comes a silver anke with succeeding step of coins, and in the eye was a brown cat. Fanatic fingers open groundnut shells, a sudden sunshine's hidden fog falls away, and the wings of vapor, blood trousers, and the wings of vapor, blood trousers, like the way a footstep smashed the diya, rice, and durba grass. Take a take at the high, phantasmic finger and blue cat. My second poems from a collection of 5 poems. এখানে তিস্তাকে মাঝে এখানে ছাহীন কাশবন থেকে বাঘের গন্ধ মুছে যায় এখানে উজান নাই পড়ে থাকে মেঘলা নদীর কথা ভুলে ভাটির দিকে গড়িয়ে যায় হাহাকার জল অখণ্ড পোড়ামাটি জুড়ে হস্তাক্ষর পড়ে থাকে Here sleeps Tista in the ferryman's gloomy bosom. Here from shadowless
it was an absolute trouble happening in Goutam Guha Roy's side with internet, I think. He's on and off. Let's see whether he's having a bit of better internet connection. So many thanks, Goutam Guha Roy, for reading at least one. And some. Hello, are you back again? Let us go back to our next poet. Perhaps we'll come back to you again. Goutam Guha Roy is quite a bit of trouble with the internet. Let's see whether it can get fixed. Mitul, if you kindly read some of my audience's comment, if that's okay, before we move on to the next poet.
Bhagavathon Borua, greetings. Devinder Singh Lamba, welcome all. Molla Mahfouz.
Many thanks, Davinderji. Davinderji is a firm believer of the promotion of Indian classical music. He's a firm believer of Shoda's phenomenal visionary activities that you do in promotion of Indian classical music and global, especially Western classical music in the West. Many thanks for your support and many thanks for watching this thread from India. Many thanks.
Molla Mahfouz Al Hussain, best wishes to our prominent poet Obayed Akash. Ashima Sharkar, best wishes to poet and essayist Goutam Guha Roy. Jofi Shetu, wow, hi everybody. Congratulations to all poets and Kaysher, Shaheen Mitul also. I see today everything is colorful and I want to enjoy colorful poetry. Bhagavathon Borua is wonderful gathering of talented poets, artists, musicians. Sohail Mahmood, best wishes to my favorite poet Obayed Akash. Tanvir Mokammel is watching. Shamim Reza, বন্ধু কবি ওবায়দ আকাশ খুব ভালো লাগছে দেখে আপনাদের Abdul Kahir, hi everybody. Then Shamim Reza কবি বন্ধু কবি গৌতমকে দেখা যাচ্ছে শেষ পর্যন্ত.
Many thanks. Shamim Reza is a supporter of this series as well. Many thanks, Shamim Reza, for your great support. We acknowledge and we are very grateful to you. Tanvir Mukammal is a phenomenal filmmaker, post-war filmmaker of Bangladesh post-war cinema. He was featured as part of this series before. Many thanks, Tanvir Mukammal, for watching this. Let us go back to our next poet, Snezhina Gulobova. Mitul, if you kindly read a brief introduction of Snezhina.
Snezhina Gulobova is a London-based poet, musician, and writer. She plays conga and batter drums, sings, dances, and teaches flamenco and Cuban rhythms. Snezhina is currently working on her doctoral research on Cuban music at Royal Holloway, University of London. She has been writing poetry since she was a teenager, inspired by her interactions with her surroundings, family, and friends. Having published in a number of collections and anthologies, Time Whispers is her debut individual poetry collection. Snezhina's writing aims to connect people from different cultures and geographies to bring us closer to each other through shared experiences and to keep us alive, which should not be forgotten. She is the co-founder of the Female Afro-Cuban Percussion and Vocal Project, Alma de Tambo. Thank you.
Thank you, Mitul. Many thanks. Snezhina, hello, my friend. A warm welcome again to this session.
Hi.
But one thing that I need to mention to you, I also have to, because you will read poetry, but that won't give you a freedom of not doing music today. So please bear this in mind. You have to sing something in the end. But let us start with your poetry. Let us start with your poetry, and apology for all those misunderstanding, I should say. You are a UK-based poet and a musician specialized in Cuban music, Cuban literature, and this is a pleasure to share that Snezhina is a wonderful musicologist as well. Have you finished your PhD from SUAS in musicology? Perhaps you are doing.
Few more
You're somehow
months. Almost there. I'm in the writing
almost
stage
there.
now.
Great,
So
great.
a few more months to go. So fingers crossed, but I'm
Great,
enjoying it. I don't know if it wants to finish. You know, it's an exciting time, but very good to see you again. It's nice to be part of your initiative. So let me know. Now you want me to read, I guess?
Yeah, no, please read. Yeah, let us spread the beauty and power of the words first. And like Razu Alauddin, one of our friends said, what Malama said, just a beautiful word is a beautiful poem. So he was so precise in relation to poetry. And you mentioned about Jorge Luis Borges, perhaps one of our spiritual guru. I count him as my spiritual guru. Whenever I read his narrative, his beautiful narrative, it's amazing actually. But we'll talk in different sessions. But let us start with Snezhina's poetry.
You know, I thought the event is so special, so I thought to do something special and read something that's not published yet, that will be published after my PhD. But it is something that very much represents us because, you know, my music inspires my poetry and then my poetry inspires my music. And this poem, particularly called The Sounds of Life, was inspired by the Sami tradition of the Nordic countries. So there's a tradition of yoiking, and yoiking is a bit like shamanic sounds, a bit like North American native North Americans, where they through sounds represent nature. And the first time I heard yoiking in Finland and Sweden, I was really impressed, and it really touched me. So I'm going to read The Sounds of Life, which is a poem that's no one ever heard until now. The Sounds of Life. Can you hear the sounds of life? The beats your heart skips, the air sliced with a knife, the wind kissing your lips, the smile of a sleeping child, lover's warm breath on your cheek, the tenderness of moments reconciled, the dreams you always seek. Can you hear the sounds of the past? The last sigh of a dying heart, the music dancing shadow cast, the bitter sweetness when you part, songs whispering memories in your ear, books singing your life story, on crow's feet, the rolling down tear, the silence of regret and glory. Can you hear the shining of sunbeams, the relieving freedom of the wild, the flowing of the forest streams, nature's music so powerful and mild, flowers blossoming in the field, the crackling of the burning fire, the aches the rain has healed, the spirits chanting at the pyre. So you're the first to hear that.
Great. Look, pandemic didn't even stop us winning the world through writing and creating new things. Many thanks. Let us go for the second one.
The second poem is called Lost, and it is from the collection that I published last year, Time Whispers.
Can I have a look? Can I have a look again at the cover of the book?
Yes, it's actually a sunset at the Malecon in Havana, talking about Cuba. It's the sunset on the seaside boulevard of Cuba's capital, Havana.
Right.
It's an actual photo. A dark shadow wandering the empty streets, wind swirling in my long silver hair. The moon, an only witness to my needs, my cloak on the cold pavement flares. Extinct in the minds of others, my own memories drowning in dust. Present lost in senseless shudders, the future a faint echo of my past. In everlasting search for the unknown, my swift walk leaves no trace, merging with every pebble and stone, a pale silhouette with no face. Searching for sunlight's twirls, my own light fading away, drifting in cold hidden worlds, remnant of a waning day.
Thank you, Snezhina. We will come back to you again. Many thanks for reading these beautiful poems. We'll come back to you again. Let us start with another poet. Our next poet will be Razu Alauddin. He's a wonderful poet of this time, a great translator, the one who actually connects the world for Bengali readers, who translated many phenomenal poets as Kawafi and others. Anyway, I will also, and then I will also request Mitul if you kindly read some audience's feedback. This is quite important, only because whether we are heard rightly, our sound is okay. If there is any complaint about sound, or I know that Goutam Da is having a bit of trouble with his internet. So apart from this, whether we are okay.
Thank you. Bhagwadhan Borua, The Sound of Life, excellent. Sohail Mahmood, I like the poem of the beautiful poet very much. Jofi Shetu, The Sound of Life, wow. Snezhina Gulobova.
Thank you. Anything else to add?
Rahman, সকলকে শুভেচ্ছা জানাই. Yeah, I think I've lost some comments.
Many thanks. Yes, you can perhaps read afterwards. So Raju bhai, this is, like I said before, this is a pleasure to have you as part of the series. And let us start with the same question. I missed to ask Snezhina, but I will do. Definitely I will do when I'll go back to her next. Why love is important? Why, whenever we utter the word love, what would you see in front of you? If you kindly unmute yourself, Raju bhai, if you are muted at this moment, so if you kindly unmute. Yes, great.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I still do remember what our friend, our poet friend, Swedish poet Bengt said, love is very important. And as Snezhina also tried to remember the same thing, instrumental of our, actually, what if you think that what is civilization? Actually, what is civilization? Civilization is a thing based on actually love. Love, in a sense, I mean, from your personal life to social life to everything. So we cannot deny love. Actually, love is the main principal thing. So let us begin my poem that is based on love. Can
Great.
I?
Great, please do.
Okay. Okay, this is actually a book of, I mean, translation of my book of poem in English translation. So I am going to read the first poem. You are my divine book, counting the beats of heart, thinking of you, I whisper secretly to me, What business with God? I have no God, no homeland, but you. If there is any God, if you are more than that, if there is any homeland, you are even greater. Your lofty love makes me great at any heart, rendering everything worthless. I hear silently when your name is uttered in friends' gossip, as if a pious person is reciting from the Holy Quran. I consider you more virtuous than Shabi Qadar. You seem not to belong to this earth. I witness you with profound surprise. Maybe you were in some other word of Allah on the throne of his tongue. Suddenly, you descended on this evil earth in the dark era, in the soft heart of a humble devotee like me. So nothing else. You are my only divine book. By the same token, I am also a prophet.
Raju
Thank
bhai,
you.
wonderful.
Thank you.
Would you mind reading another one?
Oh, sure. I
We'll come back to you again. Yeah, we'll come back
Oh,
to
with
you.
great,
After.
with great
Yeah.
pleasure. The age of enlightenment. The more the bright all around, the dark everything at core. That is why light flourishes. Night so deep you see, flowing to the underworld. Yet I know all human spirit chasing darkness eternally with the glory of light.
Thank you. Many thanks, Raju bhai, for reading this wonderful,
No,
haunting
thanks to
verses
you.
of haunting
Actually,
verses of poetry.
thanks to you guys for giving me chance to read my poem.
It's a
I'm really
pleasure.
glad.
It's a huge pleasure for us and for our audiences during this pandemic. No better way to be engaged in listening poetry. You won't find any better way than
Exactly.
what we are doing now. So I'm
That
sure
is true.
our
That is true.
audiences are immersed in this beautiful poetry reading by the phenomenal poets of this time, 5 poets of this
Let us
time. Many
let
thanks.
us see let us see if they like our poems.
Sure. I'm sure they're loving it. They're just simply loving it. We will come back to you, Raju bhai, again. Let us start with our next poet, Obayed Akash. Mitul, if you kindly read a brief introduction on Obayed Akash.
Thank you. Obayed Akash, one of the most prominent contemporary Bangladeshi poets, was born on 13 June 1973 in Shariatpur, Sultanpur village of Rajbari district. After completing his master's degree in Bangla language and literature, Mr. Akash pursued a career in journalism. He is currently working as the literary editor of the Daily Shangbad. He is also a storyteller, essayist, and translator. His poems are packed in sense and sensibility. The use of magic realism and blending of different genres in poetry, and above all, his facile diction define him as a postmodern poet. He has 37 books to his credit,
Wow.
including poetry, short stories, translations, and essays. Some of his noteworthy publications are পতন গুঞ্জনে ভাসে খরস্রোতা চাঁদ, নাশতার টেবিলে প্রজাপতিগণ, শীতের প্রকার, ঋতুভেদে পালকের মনোবৃত্তিগুলি, যা কিছু সবুজ সংকেতময়, ফরাসি কবিতার একাল কথারা কোনোই প্রতিশ্রুতি বহন করে না, ঘাসের রেস্তোরাঁ, দুই বাংলার ৯০-এর দশকের নির্বাচিত কবিতা, etc. Thank you.
অসংখ্য ধন্যবাদ. Many thanks, Mitul. Let us come back to you, Obayed. How are you, Obayed? How are you coping your time during this pandemic? If you kindly unmute yourself first. Yes. Still not, yeah, okay. First of all, are you right? Are you okay? And how are you coping with this?
I'm very fine. Nice to meet all together. It is very nice to see poets from many countries face to face. And now 3 poems of Bengt, really very inspiring, and I like it very much. And Sneha's sound of life is very hard blowing. And my friend Goutam Guha Roy, his heart is Tista River. I visited the Tista, and Goutam Guha Roy, he is a very prominent poet and very brilliant poet of Bengali poetry. Now I want to read a poem at first English, and then I want to read little 2 poems in Bengali. I wrote a poem. I have written a poem recently in Corona session, and this is my latest poem. I want to read about a torn stool, throne, and my wife. Couldn't find any such pleasure in this Eid. That's why my wife is cooking Chinese dishes instead of, as usual, Bangla delicacies. And Timberling alone sitting inside the kitchen. Meanwhile, water is blowing hot on the burner. Alongside lemon juice, a cup of honey, chopped ginger, garlics, brines, and inhaling water vapors. Temped up in the kitchen, standing stubborn and shaping themselves into a kind of throne of smokes, turning around all those Chinese varieties. Seeing me, there my desperate housewife responds scathingly, pointing her finger towards the torn stool. Why can't you change them? Don't you know, whenever I try to sit on, it sounds in bad temper, tears up my tools and scarves. And fear factor of falling down remains always there. I'm telling her to calm down, darling, keep cool, at least for today. Catching my words of mouth, she's just snarling aloud, you know what, I'm not enjoying at all this topsy-turvy household affairs. Know it I will, that you are interested only about your own matters. And I reckon it was you the other days who told me, listen, torn stools and thrones are of same character by nature, having fears of downfall at any point. I have understood your tricks this time, forcing me down from the stool, you would like to see my hands and legs are broken, and would make me helpless and the loneliest person on earth, like a dethroned king. And availing that change alone, I know you will be hanging posters of your own choice on tree top waiting. What a isolation indeed, of the absolute loneliness, a poetry. This poetry, translated by my very favorite friend and poet essayist, Mahfuz Al Hussein. This is he is very important poet and our very literary guys in the in this time. I like him very much, and now I want to read two poems from my latest book, Prishtha Jure Sultanpur. Prishtha Jure Sultanpur. Sultanpur is my native village. I have written a book, complete book on about Sultanpur, a complete book. না আমি সেখান থেকে দুটো কবিতা আপনাদেরকে পড়ে শোনাতে চাই, বাংলায় পড়বো কবিতা দুটো। পুরনো অ্যালবাম। সুলতানপুরের ব্যবহৃত পথগুলো এক একটি সুবৃহৎ নদী হয়ে গেছে। আবার সাম্পান চলছে, নৌকা চলছে, জেলেরা মাছ ধরছে, প্রত্যাশিত হাসি মুখে পর্যটনের ক্যামেরায় দাঁড়িয়ে পোজ দিচ্ছে। যেন নদীতে ফিরে এসেছে হারানো যৌবন, হারানো স্রোত, একুলকুল ছাপিয়ে প্লাবনের ধারা। এই দৃশ্য মধ্যরাতের ঘুমের কার্নিশ থেকে ছিঁড়ে ঝুলিয়ে দিয়েছে মৃতপ্রায় কুমার নদের পারে। নদটি তার ঘোরতর বিষাদের পাশে দাঁড়িয়ে আপ্রাণ মেলাতে চাইছে হারানো বিস্তার। এবার সে একটি একটি পৃষ্ঠা ছিঁড়ছে আর ক্রমশ স্রোতবতী হয়ে উঠছে পুরনো অ্যালবাম। My next poem, সদা তৎপর কবরের নিপুণ নকশা। আর কোনোদিন ফিরে আসবে না এবেলা ওবেলা হারানো সুলতানপুর। একদিন ভরাট পুকুরের জলে ডুব দিয়ে 10 হাত গভীর থেকে মাটি তুলে এনে দেখতাম কি প্রণাম্য আভিজাত্য গোপনে লুকিয়ে রেখেছে সে। বাক ভর্তি খেজুরের রসে ভোরগুলো নুয়ে পড়তো, আর কাঁসার গেলাসের ভেতর ডিটল খয়েরি হতো মাঘ মাসের ভরাট যৌবন। নলখাগড়া বেঁচে নেই কুয়াশার চাদর মুড়িয়ে থাকা গাঙের কিনারে, আর তারাবাম বাতাসিরা অভিমানে ভেসে গেছে শোকের শাখায়। আমিও কি যাব ফিরে কাদা খোঁচার অম্লান আহ্বানে, জানকিনের শোল পুটি জিওলের পিছে কাদা জলে ফুরিয়ে দেব দুপুর সন্ধ্যা। আবার আমার শিওরে আঁকা বাড়ির উঠোনে এক কবরের নিপুণ নকশা। ধন্যবাদ।
Thank you. Many thanks, Obayed, for reading.
ধন্যবাদ আমাকে সুযোগ দেওয়ার জন্য। আমি খুব আনন্দ বোধ করছি এবং গ্রন্থী, আহমেদ কায়সার, শাহান, শামীম শাহান সবাই আমার অতি আপনজন। এখানে এসে যে বেঙ্ট এবং স্নেহঝিনার সঙ্গে পরিচয় হলো এবং মিতুলের সঙ্গে আমার খুবই ভালো লাগছে যে সব ব্রিলিয়ান্ট কিছু মানুষের সঙ্গে আমার পরিচয় হলো। বিশেষ করে আমি বেঙ্ট এবং স্নেহঝিনার কবিতা শুনে আসলে বিস্মিত হয়েছি এবং তাদের ভাবনার যে একটি বৈচিত্র্য এবং ভাবনার যে একটি স্বাতন্ত্র্য আমার কাছে খুব ভালো লেগেছে। বিশেষ করে এই যে জীবনের সাউন্ড, এই কথাটা যে কবিতা এইভাবে শুরু করা যায়, এটা দিয়েই একটি কবিতা। শুরুতে আর কিছু লাগে না আসলে একটি কবিতা, এই একটি লাইনই আসলে পুরো অনুষ্ঠানটাকে আমার মনে হয় অন্যরকম করে দিয়েছে। আর যে ভালোবাসার কথা,
Snezhina, this is a compliment for your sound of life. This is so you read
really
made everyone
really amazing line, really. And Bengt, he is a lover. He's a a great
true lover.
lover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Many
And
thanks.
this young
Obayed,
lover,
আমরা আপনার
young
কাছে
lover. Thank
আসছি,
you.
আপনার কাছে আসছি। প্রথমত একটা প্রশ্ন ছিল আমাদের সাথে গৌতম রায়, এখন বোধহয় মানে ইন্টারনেটটা ভালো হলো, কিন্তু একটা প্রশ্ন ছিল ভালোবাসা কেন? আপনি নিজেও ভালোবাসার মাঝেই বোধ থাকেন। কবিতা তো যে কোনো ধরনের, মানে কবিতা লিখছি একটা শব্দের সঙ্গে আরেক শব্দের যে অন্যয়, রিলেশনশিপ বিটুইন টু ওয়ার্ডস or the silence between two words. If you'd like to create the silence between two words, that needs a profound love. এটা কোনো সন্দেহ নেই। আমরা দুই লাইনের মধ্যবর্তী নৈশব্দের কথা যা বলি, কিন্তু দুই শব্দের মাঝে, বা আমরা অনেক সময় সঙ্গীত যারা মানে বিকজ Snezhina is from music, দুইটা নোটের মাঝখানে যে নৈশব্দের কথা আমাদের বিখ্যাত ফ্রেঞ্চ কম্পোজার বলেছেন, আমি ওই জায়গাতে যাচ্ছি না, কিন্তু এটা তো মানে একটা কম্বিনেশন অফ লাভ। নিশ্চয়ই এটা ভালোবাসা ছাড়া এটা হয় না। আমি ভালোবাসা সংক্রান্ত আপনার আখ্যানটা জানতে চাইবো একটু পরে। আমি একটু নিচ্ছি একটু যদি মিতুল, if you kindly read a brief introduction on Razu Alauddin. Razu bhai is so close to me, এবং আমি মনে হলো যে আমি নিজে বলছি কারণ আমি নিজে ওনার কাজগুলো দেখি, ফেসবুকে দেখি বলে, কিন্তু we have মানে মিতুল has created a brief introduction for each of our poets, so we missed actually. Mitul, if you kindly read a brief introduction of Razu Alauddin.
Sure. Razu Alauddin is a poet, essayist, and translator, born on 6th May 1965 in Shariatpur. Mr. Alauddin grew up and spent most of his student life in Dhaka. From the start of his career, Razu Alauddin has been involved in journalism. He specializes in Jorge Borges and has translated into Bengali the great Argentine writers' stories and essays from the original Spanish. His poems and essays have been translated in several languages, including English, Spanish, Italian, and Swedish. He has 30 publications to his credit so far, including translated books of poetry, interviews, biographies, compilations, and essays. His book of poetry, Akankhar Manchitro Gopone Ekechi, was first published in 2014, and the second edition has been published this year. This poetry book has been translated in English by Binoy Barmon and in Spanish by Maria Helena Agarwal. Among his other noteworthy publications are C.P. Kavafir Kobita, Akasher Opare Akash, Shakkhatkar, Onudito Kotha Samogro, Jorge Luis Borges-এর সাথে 7টি আলাপ, ভর দুপুরে শঙ্খ ঘোষের সাথে, চর্যাপদ কালে কালান্তরে, ভাষার প্রতিভা, বিকৃতি ও বিরোধিতা, etc. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations to Razu bhai. I managed to know something more.
You are welcome. You are welcome.
Well, আপনার কবিতার জায়গাগুলোতে মানে আরো পড়তে চাই, ভীষণ সুন্দর আজকে লাগলো, এটা আনন্দ তৈরি হলো। আমরা এখন let us go back to Bengt again. Hello Bengt. So Bengt, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Great. So this is another question. It may sound a bit stupid, I mean something with no sense actually, but if you are asked, or whether you make a dialogue with yourself sometime, why I'm writing poetry, why art, because life is the summation of meaninglessness, so why art? Did you ever come across with this question, and did you try to find an answer on it before we move on to your poetry reading?
No, I've never been asked that question before. Why art? I guess it's a complex question. First of all, art or creativity is like an obsession. I cannot live without being creative. And I think I've been writing poetry for 50 years. I've been painting for 50 years. I've been playing percussion for 50 years. And it's who I am. And let me get back to you about the question of love. I mean, love is the only thing that can change this world. And I think creativity is an expression of love.
Great. Great. Are you somehow connected to beat poetry, beat generation?
Yes, I am, because I was appointed Beat Poet Laureate for lifetime by the National Beat Poet Foundation in the States, United States, 2 years ago. Besides, I've read all the beat poets during my time in Turkey. I mean, I read everything. I was in jail for like 4.5 years in Turkey, and it was a whole new world of literature that opened itself to my life when I was there. And I read all the beat poets. I read all the world literature. I read Dostoevsky, I read Dylan Thomas, I read T.S. Eliot.
Exactly, right, great. Let us have some more poetry from you. So if you kindly read another 2 or 3 poems, perhaps 3.
I'm going to read a poem from this book. It's called I. It's very short.
Wow, great.
It's a short name and it's a thick book. It's a lot of pages. And I have this idea of, I've used the I in a sense of the I in all of us. So, okay.
I actually, the summation of eyes.
I sing the song of I, rolling like dark thunder amongst the newborn, breaking like murky ice when war is receding from the front page to a mere mention on page 7. I sing the song of I in the ruins of so many cities, where flesh is just greed and solemnity, only a bargain to go before suicide bombers wreck what is left. I sing the song of I amongst the holy men, lusting for boys amongst the speakers of hate, the mongers of stolen time, the slashers and the cutthroats. I sing the song of I in the rotting leftovers, in dumpsters, amongst the hookers and lowlife, waiting for one more fix, amongst the breakups and the sword to go. I sing the song of I. Every day I see you smile. Every day I see I in opposition, and why my eyes have no blinds, no power to bend light. I sing the song of I as long as I can to the oncoming traffic, the debris and flotsam and the swirling vortex of dark water. I sing the song of I to the dying of the day, to the memory of another I, long dead. There's another I can see in all that is left. I sing the song of I am the song of I. Thank you.
Thank you. Next one, please.
Would you like to hear something in Swedish?
Sorry?
Would you like to hear something in Swedish?
Yeah, exactly. Please go on. Yeah, that would add something, add a new dimension to this series.
I read something in Swedish, then I read the English translation.
English translation. Wow, great.
Because this book just recently was published. Is the translation of this one.
Wow, great.
Vi tillbringar våra dagar i ett ständigt lärande. Och jag får allt fler vänner i historien. Jag sover nu på en filt som jag har lagt över brädorna i sängen. Raklång och samlad möter jag natten. Duvorna som tar emot mig i gryningen skänker mig ett vingat tempel att möta dagen i. Den första snön som faller väcker nordliga minnen och kyliga vindar viskar ofta mitt namn. Barndomens bilder smyger som fantomer genom min värld. När nästan 2 år har gått finns inte längre något annat alternativ än levandet här och nu. Verkligheten transcenderar sitt innehåll för varje dag och livet utanför bleknar långsamt i betydelse. Genom ditt fönster på kortsidan kan jag ibland se turkiska barn leka på gatan utanför. Jag kan se hur vattenförsäljaren kommer med sin åsna och vagn. Now the English version of it. Let me just mention before I read the English translation. This is an autobiography written like a long poem. And this part is about me being in jail in Istanbul. When I read this part, it's like I've been there for a few years already. We spent our days in constant learning, and I made new friends, long dead. I slept on a blanket that I had spread over the boards in the bed, stretched out and collected I meet the night. Pigeons received me at dawn and gave me a winged temple where I could meet the day. The first snow fell, birthing northern memories. Chilly winds often whispered my name. Visions of childhood crept like pale phantoms through my world. When almost 2 years have gone by, there is no other alternative. I live here and now. Each day, reality transcends its momentary content, and life outside slowly fades into importance. Through a small window at the back of my wall, I could see Turkish children playing in the dusty street outside. I could see the waterman coming down the road with a donkey before his cart, loaded with fresh water. That's it.
Thank you. Many thanks, Bengt. Great. Mitul, if you kindly read some audience's feedback before we move on to the next poet. Goutam Guha Roy, I can see you.
Hello.
I can see you. So that shows perhaps your internet is getting better. But in the meantime, let us have some audience's feedback.
Jawhar Hussain. জওহর হোসেন, ভালো লাগছে গ্রন্থির সৎ ও মহৎ প্রেরণার উৎস বিশ্ব কবি ও কবিতার সমৃদ্ধ আয়োজন। ধন্যবাদ কবি ওবায়দ আকাশ, কবি রাজু আলাউদ্দিন, কবি গৌতম রায়, সকলকে অভিনন্দন। Jofir Shetu, I hear silently. Excellent, Raju Alauddin. Sohail Mahmood, I'm waiting to hear the recitation of poems by dear poet Obayed Akash. Jofir Shetu, oh Prophet Raju Alauddin. Godhon Balua, last poem from poet Raju Alauddin. Thanks. Sohail Mahmood, congratulations to Obayed Akash. Of poems by dear poet Obayed Akash. Jofir Shetu, oh Prophet Raju Alauddin. Hello, I can. So that shows perhaps you request to poet Obayed Akash to read his Mitha Totai. The poems read by Obayed Akash have already become very popular among the readers of Bangladesh. Sincere respect and love to the beloved poet. Then জওহর হোসেন, সত্যি মালার্মে উপলব্ধি করেছিলেন কাব্য নির্মাণের ক্ষেত্রে শব্দ অপসরের স্পর্শ মূল্যহীন বস্তুকেও সোনায় রূপান্তরিত করতে পারে। অক্ষরের নিপুণ ঝংকারই একটি ভালো কবিতার সার্থকতা। অসংখ্য ধন্যবাদ কবি টি এম আহমেদ কায়সার, কবি সম্পাদক শামীম শাহান ও বাকশিল্পী শাহীন মিতুল আপনাকে।
Thank you. That's all perhaps for now. Many thanks. Joy Hussain is a poet as well, and then very rightly said, especially the symbolism in French, started with some great architects, and one is Malame. And perhaps those who are musicians, they will agree more, because words doesn't have to mean anything. Words itself, the part of poetry, words itself can connect the bottom of the heart. And then that was the inner philosophy when Malame said. And then Jorge Luis Borges also, for his great precision, he took this great visionary philosophy of words as a symbol, as the idea of poetry. So many thanks, Joy Hussain, and then those who are watching, please do share and let your friends have the opportunity to be the part of this wonderful session. So let's move on to our next poet, Goutam Guha Roy. We have missed you a lot. Perhaps this is a huge problem in Kolkata after Amphan. And we can see people who are connected, especially after this Gronthee, on top of this Gronthee, we run some musical conversation, musical performances, part of show those activities. And then those who have been connected from Kolkata, we can see that a huge problem is happening still there in relation to internet. Let's see, let us have some more poems, or let us have some more poetry reading from you, Goutam Guha Roy. Over to you now. Can you hear us?
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, please.
Hello?
But like I said before,
Can you
if
hear
you
me?
kindly come, like
Can
I
you
said
hear me?
before, we can. But if you kindly come closer to the device so that you can hear you clear. Does it make sense?
গাছেরাও মা হয়ে যায়, মায়েরা ক্রমাগত ঝুরি নামাতে নামাতে একদিন প্রকৃতি হয়ে গেলে ধূপ জ্বালিয়ে শাক বাজিয়ে বরণ করে সেই মহেন্দ্র ক্ষণ। আজ
এটা একটা সত্যি বুঝতে পারছি একটা ভালো সমস্যা হচ্ছে আপনার এটা খুব unfortunately we couldn't enjoy your reading because of internet. Please, and this is an apology to our audience as well. Apology to Goutam Guha Roy as well. We can't have you go on with this poor internet connection. So many thanks, Goutam Guha Roy. It would be lovely actually if we could hear all those hunting verses that you wrote. Beautiful. It sounds so beautiful, but unfortunately we couldn't hear you right. Many thanks. We can come back to Snezhina. Hello, Snezhina. Snezhina, you need to unmute yourself again, please. Can you unmute? We can't hear you. Yes, great. No, you muted yourself again. You unmuted, but you muted yourself again. Great. Did you unmute?
Now you can hear me?
We can
Yes.
hear you. Great.
Sorry,
Great.
slightly technological.
Exactly. These technical glitches will happen. We can't get rid of this. We have to feel fortunate. At least we managed to connect from different corners. We managed to merge and
Yes.
get associated from different corners. At least technology gave us that opportunity. But please forgive us, please, and an honest apology for these technical glitches. We can't do anything literally on this. So Snezhina, let us ask the same question. Why love is important to you? Why? I mean, how love influenced your writing? Let us let us reshuffle the word, reshuffle my question. Why, how love actually influenced your writing?
You know, I've been thinking about it and listening to my colleagues across Sheridan. I think love is our, and you know, love is actually who we are or who we aspire to be. And you know, whether it's you know, fear or annoyance or jealousy, those are just external things. They're not who we are. So by thinking of love and by trying to be love and to share who we are through the art, because what do we do through the art? We share who we are. And I want to be sharing myself as love. So I guess that's how it inspires me, and that's how it inspires my work. So yeah, I guess that's the the way I feel about it.
And why poetry? Why literature and poetry is important to you? And do you think this is a question I always tend to ask. I mean, I feel tempted to ask all artists whether they come across with the absolute meaninglessness, whether you found life is actually meaningless. Why are we surviving? Why are we living? And whether everything we do does have any meaning, because of its fame, writing, or watching, listening, everything goes in vain sometimes. And do you come across with this kind of experiences?
Very, very much so.
That is something that I wake up with sometimes. I feel everything is meaningless. And then I have to struggle to console myself, to convince myself that, wow, let's find some meaning. Let's find some meaning. So over to you.
I can completely relate to you. And I also feel that how do we connect with others is if we keep our thoughts, experiences to ourselves, then we remain with ourselves. But when we actually put word on paper or on whatever digital media or whatever it is, and we share it and someone reads it, it's already building a connection. When we read what we've written, when we speak it, it's already building a connection. So poetry, literature, it's a never-ending conversation. And one that transcends time. I mean, we read Borges. No, I mean, we read Lord Byron. You know, we read Lorca. We read a lot of who are not around us or who haven't been around us for a long time, but they're still conversing with us. We see their day, we see their thinking, we see the time. And yeah, I think that that's how we have continuity. Literature is a key part of continuity. So is any art, but particularly poetry and literature is a very specific way of expressing ourselves and leaving something for the future.
Great, Snezhina. So let us have two more poems from you, and then let us, in the end, like myself and like all of our panelists, would like to listen your music.
No, it's with pleasure. And you know, I selected this poem because love brings positive, but also some harder experiences. And I was brought up by my paternal grandmother, and this poem is a loving memory of her, because when I lost her was the first time I've experienced that type of loss connected to love. And I did not know what that feeling was before. So the poem is called Without You, and it's after I lost my grandmother. They say time heals, that it gets better. Yet worse it feels. Time does not matter. I sense the hollow inside me, emptiness since you're gone. Your space is vacant beside me. No one in your place has grown. I search for your laughter, waiting to hear your word. Your kindness I seek after. Voice the song of a bird. Memories precious and sweet. Eyes filled with tears of love. My mind I'm trying to cheat. Reality in the back I shove. I'm angry you left me without you. To be in this world every day. Away from my life you flew. With me you chose not to stay. For whom will I live my ambitions? Who will be happy for my rewards? Share in celebration of my recognitions. Remind me what I'm aiming towards. My heart bleeds with despair, torn between affection and loss. To nothing can the feeling compare. No solution does my mind cross. Forever I shall carry you in me, in my thoughts, words, and deeds. Your strength every moment beside me. Your warmth my life always feeds. So that's the first one, which was published also in Time Whispers in my collection. And the second poem, you're going to get another preview of something that's not out yet, but will be published.
Yeah, Snezhina, before you start reading your second poem, can you get a cracking sound fixed? I can hear a bit of cracking sound coming, perhaps. I'm not sure that it is coming from others, but if all others can mute themselves and then see whether this cracking sound can be right. Okay, can you just start reading? Yes, Bengt is tempted to play some sort of percussion, and Snezhina is a percussionist as well, and then see the rhythm. Snezhina, anyone can guess that you are a musician. The last poem you read, apart from the inner philosophy of the philosophy of meaning, the rhythm that you created is so flawless in the whole track. Anyway, so let us listen the second one. Listen to the second poem.
So the second poem is called Here and Now. Your feet cannot walk to the past. Why keep looking back and that which will never return? Even your memories will not always last. The feelings you held onto will one day burn. It is but illusion that the past exists. There is no future that we know. Only the current moment persists. It is the only time we can reality call. Turn your head to who is here now. Do not ignore the experiences of today. For once they're gone to the rear, nothing you do will make them stay. Pay attention to what the days bring. Listen to the sounds of life's flow, to what the silent whispers sing before time your treasure stole. The moment flees in the blink of an eye. In a breath, the future becomes a past. Opportunities precious swiftly away fly, yet the pain of regrets can a lifetime last. So I'd say we should live here and now as we are in this moment, enjoying the poetry and sharing into each other's company.
Great. Snezhina, music.
Yes, you know, you've heard that one, but because it's a beautiful song that I thought, you know, and I'll sing in Spanish since we had some Swedish. I'm actually in Sweden, by the way, where my brother lives at the moment. So there's a lot happening in Sweden.
Oh.
Yes, we had Bengali, so it's exciting. So I'll sing for you in Spanish since, you know, it's Cuban music.
Have you got any percussion instrument in front of you or near you? You can perhaps.
No.
Okay, good.
Sorry, it has to be a cappella this time, but okay. Slowly. So I will sing 20 years for you, and how love can last or be destroyed after 20 years together. Let's hope it lasts. ¿Qué te importa que te ame si tú no me quieres ya? El amor que ha pasado no se debe recordar. Fui la ilusión de tu vida, un día lejano ya. Hoy represento el pasado, no me puedo conformar. Hoy represento el pasado, no me puedo conformar. Si las cosas que uno quiere se pudieran alcanzar y tú me quisieras lo mismo que 20 años atrás, con qué tristeza miramos un amor que se nos va. Es un pedazo de alma que se arranca sin piedad. Es un pedazo de alma que se arranca sin piedad. Thank you.
Great.
I saw that
Thank
Bengt really
you.
got the rhythm.
Yeah.
Hey.
Muchas gracias. Me gustó tu canto. Excelente.
De nada, un placer. Un placer.
Sí, me gustó mucho. Te cantas bien. Cantas bien y esa canción me gustó mucho. Gracias.
Oh, too Spanish. Very,
Qué
very,
maravilla.
very,
Okay.
many thanks, Snezhina. I'll come back to you again. We have our next poet is Razu Alauddin. So রাজু ভাই একটা তো হলো সত্যিকার অর্থেই মানে সমস্ত আমরা এটা বলি যে সাহিত্যই পারে বা সঙ্গীত বা শিল্প যেটা করে মানুষের মাঝে একটা তো হলো হিউম্যানিটি, একটা ওয়াইডার হিউম্যানিটি তৈরি করে এবং এক জায়গা থেকে আপনি চিন্তা করেন আপনি আজকে এই এখন দেখুন স্প্যানিশ নানা রকমের স্প্যানিশ কথা বললেন, এক একটা সিনেমা দেখছেন, এক একজনের কবিতা পড়ছেন। আমি গতকাল আলমাদুবর দেখলাম, আমার ভীষণ প্রিয়
Almodovar. He's a great
আমার
movie maker. He's a great
একদম
movie
আলমাদুবর
maker.
আমার ভীষণ ভীষণ প্রিয় এবং ভীষণ রিগোরাস ফিল্ম মেকার। মানে তার একটা
Exactly.
সিনেমা স্টাইল তো ডিফারেন্ট অন্যদের থেকে। একদিকে টাকুবস্তি আপনার এই
He has his own style and
কিন্তু
he has his own
একদম
style and own
একদম
language.
একদম আমি
Exactly.
আই ওয়াজ ওয়াচিং হিজ ফিল্ম। কিন্তু এই সিনেমাগুলো এই আর্ট ফর্ম গুলো করে কি টু ইউনাইট দ্য হোল ওয়ার্ল্ড। এবং এটা কি আশ্চর্য, আমরা দেখেন উই আর শেয়ারিং এ প্ল্যাটফর্ম এবং মনে হচ্ছে না কিন্তু একজন আরেকজন থেকে দূরের মানুষ মনে হচ্ছে। কবিতাগুলো পড়ছি, ইট অলওয়েজ টকস অ্যাবাউট ইউনিভার্সাল হিউম্যানিটি, ইউনিভার্সাল লাভ, এবং দ্যাটস হাউ উই গেট কানেক্টেড ফ্রম ওয়ান কর্নার টু দি আদার। কিন্তু একটা প্রশ্ন হলো এটা এটা আপনার মাঝে হয়েছে কিনা কখনো? রাজু ভাই খুব সুখী মানুষ, সুতরাং আমি জানি না আপনার এটা হয় কিনা। আপনার কি দিন শুরু হয় একটা মিনিংলেসনেস দিয়ে, দিন শুরু হয়েছে, জীবনটা অর্থহীন, এরকম কখনো ফিল করেছেন কিনা? এবং দেন ইউ স্ট্রাগল টু ফাইন্ড সাম মিনিং। হ্যাঁ, এবং এটা কবিতার মধ্য দিয়ে এটা হয়তো খোঁজার চেষ্টা করছেন, বা থ্রু আদার আর্ট ফর্ম, ইদার বাই ক্রিয়েটিং আর্ট or admiring art or appreciating art, perhaps through listening, through watching. এটা কখনো হয়েছে কিনা? বা কবিতা কি আপনার একটা আশ্রয়ের জায়গা কিনা? যখন সমস্ত কিছু অর্থহীন মনে হয় তখন কি শিল্পটা একটা শুশ্রূষার জায়গা কিনা? এটা আমি আই ফিল অলওয়েজ টেম্পটেড টু ফাইন্ড আউট a writer's or an artist's personal journey. আপনার কাছে কি এরকম ফিল করেছেন কিনা, ওর আপনার অভিজ্ঞতাটা কি?
Well, thank you, Kaysher, for asking me such a vital question, and it is at the same time it's a very complicated question. And complicated, I mean, the question is very, very simple, but the answer will be very complicated in a sense that we know actually life regarding atheist or I mean whatever you call okay, without any religious belief. What I believe, frankly speaking, life has no meaning. Life has no meaning. As you know, you have gone through the work of so many great writers. Okay, even Kabaf, you know that his irony, everything. Even where our friends, even Obayed, Akash, Goutam Guha Roy, Shamim, our friend, Swedish friend Bengt, and our friend from Cuba, Snezhina, we know actually that life has no meaning. But actually, why you are living is still knowing that there is no meaning of life. I think it is a language, it is the art that helped us, or at the same time, the art helped us to know the meaningless of life, at the same time to create the meaning of that meaningless life. Meaning, that means when we are creating art, we know that we are actually creating the significance of life, of the life that we are living, the life that has no meaning at the end of life. Whatever you call after life, there is a, you know that I mean the priest, the Maulana, I mean the Muslim priest, what we call Maulana, they gave us the dream of afterlife. But we know that life has no meaning, but we are living. We are living. It is because it is the only animal among animals. I mean, the human being. It is the only animal who know how to create the art, how to create the meaning through arts. So we are living. Let us go back to the point. The music and I mean the music that Bengt and Snezhina deeply related with music. I wanted to talk about that after this music and her recitation, even after Bengt. The music is very important. You know, you are related, Kaysher. I think everybody knows that he is Radha Raman organization, Shangoton. Is it true? Am I right, Kaysher?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I do run two organizations, Radha Raman Society, which is folk music.
I think he's the only representative, our worldwide representative of one of our very special kind of music, that is Radha Raman Sangeet. So let us go back to the point. I mean the music, and you know, the most famous writer from Cuba. I mean Alejo Carpentier. He was one of the best musicologists. And if we go through his work, actually there's some part of his work we cannot understand perfectly without having the knowledge about music, even from other country, other language. For example, Boris Pasternak, we cannot understand 100%. I mean, meticulously. If you understand his work meticulously, that is Dr. Zhivago. Understand his work, not only his, even Mallarmé or Edia. And you know that most of our famous poets, they are deeply rooted and related with music. For example, Rabindranath Tagore, even the Kazi Nazrul Islam. So without music, I mean, without art, there is a meaning of life. And without, I mean, love, out of the music, out of love. So there is, where there is love, there is music, there is art. So without love,
true,
nothing exists.
Very true.
Nothing exists.
To me, any art form becomes an art form when it is connected to music. So poetry, whenever I do poetry, I would like to see whether there is a silence thread of music there. Whenever I watch music, one of my gurus, spiritual guru, Bergman. Bergman is the one who introduced me with the Western classical music, and such a great interpretation of Western classical music that Bergman did in his. And you mentioned about Carpentier. Carpentier, a great founder of magic realism. Wonderful, and Carpentier, founder of magic realism, equally. They are. I mean, Carpentier is such a great musicologist too. Many thanks for telling this. For raising this issue, raising this thing.
Yeah, exactly. And let me tell you something in favor of you and all other people who really love music. For example, the highest form of the art is the music. That is, the statement by Schopenhauer. Maybe some people can differ, but still I believe so. I believe it. Well, I forgot to mention my fellow, poets, Obayed, Akash and Goutam Guha Roy. His recitation was interrupted because of internet connection. But the part I heard, I liked his poems. And Obayed Akash, he's definitely a very good poet from Bangladesh. So it is really, a great pleasure. So I don't know, do I have any time to recite any poem, or It is.
No,
I
yeah,
think
kindly. That is what I'm saying. If you kindly read one or two points, that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, just let me know if you think that I'm crossing the time. You just
No.
hold
Please,
me.
please,
It's okay.
read, please,
So
read. Let us get
okay.
immersed in poetry. Yes.
Okay, let us. I would like to recite. Actually, you know that most of the people, they don't regard translation as a art form. You know that, but I do not believe world literature, even the great literature, cannot exist without translation. So let me tell you. Let me read a poem. What is about actually translation, but it is also about poem, if it is poem, if you like to call it. It is the original to translation. The truth be told, I am more of yours than I am of mine. You came in a stranger's robe, trying to take my hints in, but in a few days you realized my language is yours. The two are the one and the same when in love. You came even closer to me, touching my elusive body, the flesh and fire, through which you tried to enter the roots of my essence. That opened, the door opened wide, set it with keys and leak, and yet you came even closer. Are you each other's imagine now? Sorry, are you each other's image now? Oh, darling of mine, what will your answer be to the question? Will you say, we have known each other so deeply that our hearts have become one? Our separate languages, yours and mine, have become one, the language of love. You have made me eternal. With your love, you have given me power to cross my own limits with your blessings. Your passion devoured me as you took me into your embrace. So, do you think that still I have time? If not,
Yeah, you can
I'm
read another
finished
one.
here.
Yeah, please. Yeah, please do. Please do. Please do.
Okay, so it will be the last poem.
Yeah.
Okay, it is.
Can you hear this? Raju, are you still there? Oh,
Yes, I'm here. Yeah, exactly. I'm here.
you're trying to find it. Right. Okay.
Yes, I'm trying to find out. Almost I'm there. Almost I'm there. Okay, 60, page 60. You are my world. The farther I go, the bigger my homeland. Miguel asks, where is your country? Bangladesh, have not you heard of it? No, never. Where is it? Near India. Oh, I see. The farther I go, the bigger my homeland. One day, Mariana asked, heard of India. She did not exactly locate the land. Have not you heard of Asia? Oh, I see. Bangladesh is then in Asia. Yes. To further, I go further away, say to Mars, and anybody there asks, hey, where is your country? I have come from a green round planet named Earth. There you will find a big continent named Asia, India in that continent, and my homeland just beside it, daughter of Asia. The further I go, the bigger my homeland. Growing bigger, it comes closer to me When close, I whisper to her ears, you are not as small as it seems. You are as big as any other continent of the world. You are like this world. You are my world. Thank you so much.
Many thanks, Raju Bhai, for this beautiful poetry reading and insightful talk that you initiated, actually. And then I really loved your insightful input, and especially
Thank
in
you so
relation
much.
to music. In relation to music, I personally,
Thank you.
this is my personal own view. Snezhina is a musician, Bengt is a musician, but I would like, whenever I like to see any painting, I would like to see whether there is a silence of music exists in that painting, and that if they can paint the music, then this is a great painting to me. So whenever I perhaps go and watch the painting of Barak, you'll see how music is connected with their painting, or even
Exactly.
art form, and especially the silence through this poetry, through whatever you read, whatever Obayed read, whatever all other Snezhina Bengt read today. Goutam Guha Roy, unfortunately, couldn't listen to him quite rightly. But always you'll see the effort of creating silence through the combination of words. So between the words, between two words, you'll find the silence there, and then you focus yourself to search for the meaning. And that's what Claude Debussy, one of my favorite French philosophers and composers, said. Music is something, a silence in between two different notes. And
Yes,
I really
very true.
quote this
Very true.
in many occasions. So many thanks, Raju Bhai. Let us go back to Obayed, Akash. Obayed, many thanks for joining. And what a wonderful poetry you read. Love from myself and from Gronthee. If you kindly read two more poems, and then we are reaching to the end, as you know, but if you kindly read two more poems. Let's see whether Goutam Guha Roy is still there, and then we'll see. Right, okay. Goutam Guha Roy is still there. We'll see whether we can have more poems from him. But Obayed, Akash, if you kindly read two more poems. You're still on mute, Obayed. If you kindly unmute yourself.
I think he's trying to adjust, or he's trying to unmute.
Yes.
Yeah, he is unmuted. Yeah.
You managed to do it now. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
If you kindly read two more poems.
Okay, thank you. This is my only English book translated poems. Who Assassin, translated by famous translator Haikel Hashmi, Mahfuz Al Hussein, Razia Sultana, Ashok Kor, and Kamrul Hassan. আমি এখান থেকে দুটি কবিতা পড়ব। তো আমি প্রথমে একটি বাংলা এবং ইংলিশ দুটোই আমি পড়ছি, ছোট ছোট দুটি কবিতা। প্রথমে আমি বাংলাটা পড়ছি। বাংলাটা সন্তানের মুখ। চিকিৎসা কিংবা নৃবিজ্ঞানে যে ভবিষ্যধূসর ভাবনাগুলো এখনো টিকে আছে, তা থেকে মুক্তির জন্য আমার সন্তানের মুখ আকাশে ঝুলিয়ে দিয়েছি। যদিও তাতে এখনো চোখ, নাক, কান কিছুই বসানো হয়নি। আর যখনই সব ঠিকঠাক জুড়ে দেয়া হলো, আকাশ ফেটে নেমে এলো ব্যাকুল সৃষ্টির ধারা। সৃষ্টি মানে বৃষ্টি, আর বৃষ্টিপাত থেকে রক্ত, এবং রক্তের পরিধি জুড়ে দৃশ্যত অপার শূন্যতা। আমার পরিপার্শ্ব ঘিরে আছে স্বদেশী বিদেশি পরিদর্শকগণ। আমি আমার সন্তানের মুখ যথার্থে এঁকেছি তো? চাইল্ডস ফেস।
একটা কথা বলে নেই, একটা কথা কি সুন্দর বললেন, রক্তের পরিধি জুড়ে দৃশ্যত অপার শূন্যতা। বিউটিফুল। Kurnish,
thank you. থ্যাংক ইউ। চাইল্ডস ফেস এই কবিতাটি translated by Haikel Hashmi, poet and multilingual poet and storyteller, translator also. Child's face. The probable grey principles of medical science or anthropology, it is still valid to get rid of that dilemma. I have just dangled the face to my child in the sky, although I haven't placed the eyes, nose, ears yet in that blankness. When everything is placed properly, at that very moment, with a bang down, pour of creation started. Creation means shower. Shower turns into blood, and in the periphery of blood, there is visible vast void. I am surrounded by local and foreign inspectors. They are here to inspect whether I have sketched my child's face properly or not. আর আমার বইটা যে ফু অ্যাসাসিন মিথ্যা আততায়ী, এই কবিতাটি পড়ার জন্য আমার বন্ধু ভাগ্যতন বড়ুয়া অনুরোধ করেছেন। আমি মিথ্যা আততায়ী প্রথমে বাংলায় পড়ছি, আর এই নামেই বইটি, ফু অ্যাসাসিন বা ফক্স অ্যাসাসিনও বলা যায়, মিথ্যা আততায়ী। এখন দেখি ক্লাসের ভেতর দিয়ে এপার থেকে ওপার অনায়াসে চলে যেতে পারি। জলে ভিজিয়ে রাখা তোমার আবর্তিত মুখে সর্বাত্মক সাজাতে পারি ভবিষ্যৎ। যখন মেঘের কঙ্কাল ধরে ঝুলেছিলে আর জনপদ থেকে জনপদ মিথ্যা আততায়ীর মতো ভালোবেসেছিলে, অবিশ্বাস্য হলেও যে কোনো মহারাত্রিক্ষণে মূলত তাদের মৃত্যুর মুখেই ঠেলে দিয়েছিলে। এমনকি তোমার ব্যক্তিগত জনপদ বলেও কিছুই ছিল না তখন। আর একদিন হঠাৎ তোমার মুখ ভেসে উঠেছিল এমনই ধ্বংসস্তূপে, পৃথিবীতে বেঁচে যাওয়া একমাত্র জলের পরীক্ষায়, যাকে তুমি গ্লাসের ভেতর পড়ে নিজেকে লুকিয়ে অবশিষ্ট ধ্বংসের হাত থেকে বাঁচাতে চেয়েছ। আর আমি উড়ে উড়ে এই বিশাল ধ্বংসস্তূপ পাড়ি দিতে প্রতিশ্রুত বলে আমাকে তুমি টেনে নিয়েছিলে ব্যক্তিগত সংগ্রহ সীমায়, এবং তৎক্ষণাৎ চমকে উঠেছিলে আমাকে ঘিরে নতুন কোন সৃষ্টির অসহ উন্মাদনায়। Who assassin? Now I am wondering how easily I may pass through the glass from one side to another. On your shocked, swirling face, how comprehensively I can decorate the future. While you have been swinging by, holding clouds, skeletons, and like the Fu assassin, you loved these habitats after habitats. Yet, incredibly, in an instance of grand dark night, you forced them to disappear into the death hole. Even then, you didn't have your own habitat, and then all of a sudden, your face emerged from the grave worst case onto water drenched. That's the only one of its kind that exists in this world. You trapped that very trench into the glass to heat yourself from the recurring ruins. Me, I would placed to fly across the distractions. So you dragged me down into your personal collection arena and then flinched at once with intolerable furor or nascent genesis has been evolving all around me. Thank you.
Many thanks, Obayed. Many thanks for your beautiful reading.
Welcome,
We are
welcome.
approaching to the end. This is a pleasure. This is an honor that
Thank you,
a
thank you.
phenomenal musician from Indian classical music, Kamalveer Singh ji is watching. Kamalveer ji made some comment, which is he perhaps listened to Raju Bhai's point and said Raju ji had a very valid point and said poetry needs a balance to recite. Poet get to understand the cycle or rhythm. And when you have to understand the rhythm, you get associated with music. What a great valid point, Kamalveer. Kamalveer is one of the finest violinists here in this country, a gold medalist in violin from All India Radio, an associate with
Dear Kaysher.
Many thanks, Kamalveer, for watching. Raju Bhai?
Dear Kaysher, please convey my greetings to him for such a beautiful comment.
I will
And
do. I will do.
we are
Many
grateful.
thanks.
We
Many
are
thanks.
grateful to him.
It's an honor.
For watching.
He's a musician, but he's a great admirer of pure art. So that's why he's into poetry as well, and made such a great valid point. So many thanks. We are reaching almost to the end. Let us go back to Goutam Guha Roy, and if you kindly add your concluding note, and if you kindly see whether we can have you for a bit of poetry. We missed your poetry. You don't know how profoundly we missed. Just for the trouble of internet, we couldn't have the beauty of your poetry as part of this session today. But let us see if you kindly read at least one poem, and if you kindly add your concluding note.
Sure.
Can you hear us, Goutam Guha Roy?
Hello. Can you read me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, again,
Sure.
sir.
I
Yeah.
I want to read a poems. বাতাস যতটা তীব্র হোক, ঝড় প্রবল হয় দীর্ঘশ্বাসে, আগুন যতটা দাহ্য হোক, দহনের জ্বালা বেশি জলহীন চোখ। নদীর কাছে গিয়ে এই সব জানতে চাইলে সে দেখায় পাথরের আঘাতের গল্পে লুকিয়ে থাকা উৎস বরফের হাহাকার। However strong may the wind be, intensifies in sky. However inflammable may the fire be, burning eyes. Questioning about those who she stones hidden in web stories, origin Garcia's 1000 Minds. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can with a bit of trouble. We can, but with a bit of trouble. With a bit of sound loss. Hello? Thank you, Goutam Guha Roy. We profoundly missed your input and contribution today, actually. And what a musical poetry you wrote, and you were reading quite musically. It was such a great lyrical thread you created. Hello? Hello, Goutam.
Can you hear me?
We can, with a bit of sound loss, with a bit of trouble. This is purely for internet connection, I think. If you kindly add your concluding note. Is that okay? Hello? If you kindly add your concluding note, if that's okay. আপনি যদি আপনার উপসংহার বার্তা যদি আমরা আপনাকে মিস করেছি পুরো সেশনে, একটু যদি উপসংহারে আপনার কিছু আপনি অ্যাড করেন আপনার।
Sorry for interaction by internet. আমার একটা যেটা কথা যে কবিতার যে উত্তরণ ঘটছে সেখানে একটা সংঘাত আবৃত্তি সাথে পিওর পোয়েট্রির আছে। কখনো কখনো এই অভিমত ওঠে যে আবৃত্তি নষ্ট করে, আবার কিছু কবিতা আছে আবৃত্তি জনসংযোগ বাড়ায় কবিতার সাথে, কিছু কবিতা আছে অন্তর থেকে উপলব্ধি করতে হয় যেটা আবৃত্তি দিয়ে উপলব্ধিতে পৌঁছানো যায় না। এই অভিমতের সাথে আমি সহমত। আসলে বিভিন্ন ডিসিপ্লিন, পেইন্টিং, গান, সং এন্ড পোয়েট্রি, সব ডিসিপ্লিনে একটা ইন্টার কানেকশন থাকে, কিন্তু প্রত্যেকটা ডিসিপ্লিনের একটা স্বকীয়তা থাকে। কবিতার স্বকীয়তা, আবৃত্তির স্বকীয়তা তো এক করে ফেললে চলবে না। The difference between recitation and poet. My contrary.
No,
and you have
thank you,
any time I can.
আমাদের সময় অনন্ত ছিল আপনার কবিতা শোনার, কিন্তু আনফরচুনেটলি আপনি যখনই কথা বলতে শুরু করেন দেন উই স্টার্ট হ্যাভিং সাউন্ড লসেস, এবং সাউন্ড লসেস এবং ওই ইন্টারনেট কানেকশনের জন্য আপনার কথা, আপনি যে এখনো কথা বলছেন সব কথাগুলো শোনা গেল না। আপনি আবৃত্তি নিয়ে কথা বলতে চাইছেন, জগতের শ্রেষ্ঠতম কবিতাগুলো আবৃত্তি সুন্দরী না, আবৃত্তি করাই যাবে না। এগুলো তো ধ্যানমগ্ন কবিতা, একটা মগ্ন চৈতন্যের ভিতরে বুঁদ এবং বিভোর না থাকলে তো ওই কবিতার সৌন্দর্যই অবগাহন করা যাবে না। তো সুতরাং জগতের শ্রেষ্ঠতম কবিতা আবৃত্তি করা যাবে না, ওগুলো মানে ওই জায়গাটা ওই জায়গারই না, ওগুলো চোখ বন্ধ করে পাঠ করতে হয়, চোখ বন্ধ করে অবগাহন করতে হয় এর সৌন্দর্যে। তো সুতরাং আবৃত্তি নিয়ে কথা হচ্ছে না, কিন্তু কবিদের কণ্ঠে যখন কবিতা
একদম অন্তর থেকে উপলব্ধি হয়ে যায়।
একদম শ্রেষ্ঠতম কবিতা হলো উপলব্ধির কবিতা। মানুষের মানে চোখ বন্ধ করলে এর ঘ্রাণগুলো মানে ভেসে উঠতে শুরু করে, এর দিগন্ত ভেসে উঠতে শুরু করে, যে সৌন্দর্যের যে দিগন্ত এবং সৌন্দর্যের যে অভিজ্ঞান, এটা খুলতে শুরু করে আসলে আসল কবিতা। সুতরাং আবৃত্তির কবিতার কথাই আমরা আবৃত্তির জায়গাতেই নাই, কিন্তু কবিদের কণ্ঠে যখন কবিতা পঠিত হয় তার একটা সৌন্দর্য আছে, কারণ কবির প্রত্যেকটা কমার সঙ্গে তার রক্তের যোগাযোগ, তার রক্তের বুদবুদ কিন্তু ভেসে ওঠে প্রত্যেকটা কমায়, প্রত্যেকটা দাড়ির ভিতরে, প্রত্যেকটা জ্যোতিচিহ্নের ভিতরে তার অসংখ্য রাত্রি জাগার স্মৃতি যুক্ত আছে এর সঙ্গে। তো এই জন্য কবির কণ্ঠে কবিতা পাঠের সৌন্দর্যটা এটা অন্য রকমের। আমরা এ নিয়ে আসলে আরেকটা অন্য রকমের সেশন, অনেক কথা বলা যাবে। Let us conclude this session. Let us have the concluding notes from Bengt, but before we move on to Bengt, Mitul, if you kindly read some comments from the audience for last.
Yeah, sure. Bhagodhan Borua, the Gronthee is an excellent platform of literature. Thanks for arranging such a nice program. Sohail Mahmood, I don't know this female poet, but her poetry has touched my heart. Her poems are as beautiful as her smile. Sincere thanks to the poet.
Snezhina, let us see you smile. Wow, great. Okay.
Abul Kashim Tapadar, I'm grateful beyond my words to be able to be connected with this wonderful platform. And he has actually invited lots of people to watch this live show. Mullah Mahfuz Al Hussein, two nice poems from Assassin by Obayed Akash, the poet ahead of time. জওহর হোসেন, সত্যি কবিতা এক ধরনের লিরিসিজম প্রভাবে প্রভাবিত শিল্পের জগতে এই বিতলতা, এই উত্তরণ কবিকে শিল্পচিন্তার জগতে আর বহুতর অন্বেষণে নিয়ে যায় বিচিত্র নির্মাণে, আর হৃদয়ঙ্গম করেন কবি স্রষ্টা নিরালোকে অভিজ্ঞানে। ধন্যবাদ কবি রাজু আলাউদ্দিন আপনাকে।
Thank you, Mitul. Let us come back to Bengt, and if you kindly add your concluding note.
Hello,
Bengt.
I'm really happy to be here. It's such a nice crowd of people, and I don't know why, but Bangladesh seems to be a very big fan of me because I'm published in some magazines, and Bangladesh people write to me all the time, and I'm very happy about that. Thank you. I think that there must be a lot of poets in Bangladesh.
Exactly. A country of
we love Sweden also. Sweden is our favorite country. I want to visit Sweden, and I want to bring Nobel Prize from Sweden, Swedish Academy.
Country of Nobel Prize. Wow. So let's many thanks.
Thomas
joining us.
Tranströmer is my most favorite poet. Thomas Tranströmer. I like his poetry very much. He's really a great poet.
I have a big house. You're welcome.
Thank you. You are most welcome, Bangladesh. Please come and visit
How
us.
big is this? Bengt, how big is this? Snezhina is in Sweden now. Snezhina is in Sweden now. We can come from London. How big is this? You have to tell us. How big is this? Snezhina is already in Sweden, and I can come. We can come from London. So how big is your house?
I have 160 square meters.
Wow, great.
Wow.
Let's have a good trip in Sweden.
I have a garden 800 square meters.
Fantastic.
Full of flowers and bushes and trees and a big pond.
Right. We will come. We'll definitely come.
I fall in love also Cuban poet Snezhina.
Me too.
Because of her poetry.
Yeah. I love it.
Really, he is a great poet. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
So let us have the concluding from Razu Alauddin. Raju bhai, if you kindly add your concluding note.
Well, thank you for actually it is already everything is said. No, I mean what we wanted to tell, everything is said through our poems and through our comments. So I have nothing to say. Only thing that I can add is that Gronthee is playing very important role to unite us. I mean, the poet from several countries, bringing us in a single platform and introducing us to each other, and each of us is being introduced to the viewer. Viewer and readers, whatever we call our audience. So it is credit goes to Gronthee, and especially the people who is playing important role behind Gronthee, that is Kaysher, Mituli, and Shamim Shahan. So I'm very much grateful to them for arranging such important program, and I would like to say thanks to my fellow poets. I mean, of my same languages, Obayed, Akash, Goutam Guha Roy, and who is not of my language, but still I feel that they are more than of my language. I mean, Bengt, or Snezhina. They might be of different language, but for their universal tone, for their universal message that they wanted to send us through their poems, that is very important. So this world, this time, needs this kind of message. And Kaysher, Mituli, and Shamim Shahan is trying to transmit this message to the world. So I'm grateful to all of you that you are playing very important role.
Thank you, Raju bhai.
Thank you
for this important input. Obayed, Akash, if you kindly add your concluding note.
Thank you. আসলে আমি বলতে চাই যে all participated poets are very bright, brilliant, and colorful. Thanks to all. আমি আসলে এই যে একটি প্ল্যাটফর্ম, একটি লিটল ম্যাগাজিন দেশীয় প্রেক্ষাপটে শুরু হয়ে এখন আন্তর্জাতিক প্রেক্ষাপটে নেতৃত্ব দিচ্ছে বা এই সাহিত্যের কর্মকাণ্ডগুলোকে তারা সংকলিত করছে, এটি নিঃসন্দেহে একটি বড় ব্যাপার। এবং লিটল ম্যাগাজিনের যে এস্টাবলিশমেন্ট একটি ক্যারেক্টার থাকে, সেই অবস্থান থেকে যে এত দূরে যে জায়গায় আমরা তারা বিস্তার করতে পারে সেই জায়গাগুলি নিঃসন্দেহে বিশুদ্ধ হবে, এটাই স্বাভাবিক। আমি এই যে আজকে অংশগ্রহণ করলাম এবং এই গ্রন্থের কল্যাণে বেঙ্গট এবং স্নেহঝিনার মতো বড় মাপের কবির সঙ্গে আমাদের দেখা হলো, তাদের কবিতা সরাসরি শুনতে পারলাম, তাদের স্পিচ শুনতে পারলাম। রাজু আলাউদ্দিন, রাজু ভাই, গৌতম গুহা রয় আমার বন্ধু, গৌতম দা জলপাইগুড়িতে থাকেন, এবং আজকে প্রথম পরিচয় হলো মিতুলির সঙ্গে, এবং শামীম শাহানের সঙ্গে আমার লন্ডনেও দেখা হয়েছিল। দুর্ভাগ্যজনক হচ্ছে যে বাংলাদেশের সঙ্গে আমার কখনো দেখা হয়নি, কথা হয়েছে একাধিকবার, কিন্তু বন্ধুত্বের দিক থেকে আমরা অনেক কাছের। কায়সার ভাই, কায়সার আহমেদ খুব দূর থেকে খুব ফিল করি, যদিও মুখোমুখি বসে সেভাবে আড্ডা দেওয়া হয়নি কখনো। তো এতগুলো মানুষের সমন্বয়ে আমরা কবিতা নিয়ে কথা বললাম। এই যে লোনলিনেস, নিঃসঙ্গতা, লাভ বা পেইন্টিং, মিউজিক, সবই কিন্তু আমাদের আলোচনার মধ্যে উঠে এসেছে। আমি গ্রন্থীকে বিশেষভাবে ধন্যবাদ জানাতে চাই, এবং আমি খুবই আনন্দিত হয়েছি এবং উৎসাহিত হয়েছি এ ধরনের আলোচনা যদি আরো বেশি বেশি হয়, বা গ্রন্থী যদি আরো বড় ভূমিকা নেয়, এবং এই যে বিশ্বব্যাপী যে 100 কবিকে নিয়ে তাদের যে একটি বড় কাজ করার যে ইচ্ছা, সেটিকে আমি স্বাগত জানাই, এবং এই কাজটি সফল হোক। আমি সবাইকে আমার ধন্যবাদ এবং আমাকে সুযোগ দেওয়ার জন্য আমি কৃতজ্ঞতা জানাচ্ছি। থ্যাংকস টু বেঙ্গট, থ্যাংকস টু স্নেহঝিনা, ধন্যবাদ রাজু ভাই, ধন্যবাদ কায়সার ভাই, ধন্যবাদ শামীম শাহান, মিতুলি, এবং আমার প্রিয় বন্ধু, প্রাণ প্রিয় বন্ধু, যাকে আমি ভাই বলে সম্বোধন করি, আমি সহোদর বলে, গৌতম গুহা রয়। ওর বাড়িতে আমি গিয়েছি, ও আমার বাড়িতে এসছে, আমরা খুবই কাছের, খুবই ঘনিষ্ঠ বন্ধু। আমরা সবাইকে আমার শুভেচ্ছা, ভালোবাসা এবং ধন্যবাদ জানাই।
Thank you, and many thanks for bringing a wonderful dimension with your poetry to this session. Many thanks, and many thanks to all those poets who brought the color, who brought the different smell, a different dimension to this session. Let us go back to Mitul, if you can get your concluding notes.
Echoing William Wordsworth, I'd like to say, the world is too much with us. Getting and spending, we waste our powers. I wonder why we waste so much energy and time in vain when we have such a powerful vehicle like poetry to change the world. It has been an absolute pleasure to be part of this experience today and to be able to experience the diversity within the group today. I'd like to express my heartiest thanks to all the poets in the panel today for being part of Gronthee's initiative, 100 Poets Around the World for Love. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Shamim Shahan, if you kindly add your concluding notes. You are muted, if you kindly unmute yourself.
Many thanks, Kaysar. Thanks to poet Goutam Guha Roy, poet Snezhina Gulobova, poet Obayed Akash, poet Bengt O Bjorklund, poet Razu Alauddin and Mituli. Just to let you all know that poem which have been read and will be read as part of this series are getting published our next publication, which I believe will serve as a diary for the all writer friends around the world. Thank you. Stay well.
Many thanks, Shamim Shahan, for your concluding notes. Snezhina, many audiences, panelists fell in love with your poetry, along with others, and your music. Music talks more. Music talks me. I look forward working when you come back from Sweden. Don't fall in love with Sweden. Don't fall in love with the landscape of Sweden. Please come back and let us grow England as one of the most living place for the rest of the world. So please come back. Yeah, if you kindly add your concluding note.
You know, there's this movie Mission Impossible or something, and people jump out of buildings and stuff and all the rest of it. All I can say today is mission accomplished. And that's all I can sum up. Great people, great time, and we share the love from all around the world for the whole world. So thank you. I feel humbled, grateful, nothing else to say.
Great, great. Goutam Guha Roy, এত অনুতাপ, এত সন্তাপ জাগছে মনে, আপনার কবিতা আজকে শোনা গেল না, কিন্তু প্লিজ ইমেইল আস। কবিতার ভিতরে বোধ এবং বিভোর।
আমি খুবই উপভোগ করলাম এই সন্ধ্যা,
এটা শুনে ভালো লাগলো।
সেনজিনার মতন একটা খুব, সবাইকে অভিনন্দন। আপনারা যে ভালোবাসার মন্ত্রে বিশ্বকে একমাত্র ভালোবাসার মন্ত্রেই বাঁধা যায়, সেই বাঁধার কাজটা আপনারা করছেন। হ্যাঁ,
ইন্টারনেটটা আজকে এখন একটু শুনতে ভালো লাগছে। কি আনন্দ, মানে এই কবিতাগুলো আপনি শুরু করছিলেন, কবিতা একটা কবিতার মাঝে ওই কবিতার মাঝে আসলে বোধ থাকতে ইন্টারনেটে একটা বাদশা আসলো। আরো কবিতা পড়তে চাই, কবিতা শুনতে চাই, and your translation, I mean, this is something to let everyone know that Shamim Shahan mentioned. The poems that has been read today, or that will be read, or that was read as part of the series, will be published in Gronthee's next issue with the introduction, and then if you, I mean, would like to translate as well. We would like to translate good poetry, so please send the poems that we have missed today from Goutam Guha Roy. Look forward to having your poems. Perhaps you will get Shamim Shahan will give you a email. Look forward to read. এটা একটা সুন্দর জিনিস, এটা মানে we are trying to connect the whole world in one year, or in one house actually. But we have to co-exchange poetry. We have to co-exchange our works. So let us read everyone. So এখন যদি হয় এটা সুযোগটা থাকে, কোনোভাবে সফট কপিও যদি থাকে, if you have soft copy of your works, of your poetry, please share it. এটা এই এক্সচেঞ্জটা হলে পরেই পৃথিবীটা, আমরা বারবার বলি যে সারা পৃথিবী, এটা বারবার বলি, অনেকে শুনে শুনে ক্লান্ত হয়ে গেছে, কিন্তু তাও বলি যে এই পৃথিবীটা, this world has to be ruled by poet, ruled by artists, and it would be far better place than it is now. এবং এটা আমি, that's what my conviction, not just belief, this is a conviction. এবং আমরা মনে করি যে প্রত্যেকের কাজের সঙ্গে একটা যুক্ত হওয়া, একটা সংযোগটা যদি রচনা করা যায়, প্রত্যেকের কাজগুলো যদি if we can share each other, এটা একটা অনুরোধ থাকলো। আর অসম্ভব ভালো থাকবেন। আজকে আসলে প্রত্যেকটা সেশন পরে একটা মন খারাপ করা একটা ব্যাপার তৈরি হয়। I develop a sense of sadness. I'm not sure about you, because we were in such a dynamic platform, and then once it goes, then I develop a sense of sadness. Oh, such a great friendship developed, and then all of a sudden all gone. So anyway, hopefully please keep in touch. Would like to see you more and more and more. Many thanks to those, especially the audiences, the poetry lovers all around the world who have watched, who have shared this live streaming. Gronthee's next session will be again on live Saturday, 4th of June. Sorry, 4 p.m. on what day is it? Saturday.
Yeah.
Next Saturday, but what date is it?
Date is 1st of August.
1st of August. So please stay tuned. We will have more poets from, like I said, all around the globe. Shivon Makmohan, one of the wonderful Irish poets, will be as part of the next session, and also an Iranian poet, one of my favorite poet and poets, and a friend who will be as part of the next session, and some wonderful poets from Bengali. So many thanks to those again, and see you soon again. Have a wonderful rest of the evening. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.